Grüezi miteinander, ganz herzlich willkommen zu den Tagen für Musik zwischen den Welten 2020, bereits das dritte Mal, dass dieses kleine Festival in diesem schönen Haus Theaterstock stattfindet. Mein Name ist, wie gesagt, Thomas GARTMANN, ich leite die Forschung an der Hochschule der Künste in Bern und heute habe ich zwei ganz tolle Gäste hier zu begrüßen, die beiden Solisten des heutigen Abends, Jing und Philipp SCHAUFELBERGER. Die Künstler haben mich gebeten, das Gespräch auf Englisch zu führen. First question is now, Philipp SCHAUFELBERGER is announced as composer and jazz guitarist here in the flyer of this festival. You, Jing, are announced only as a composer. How important is it for you that you are presented as a composer?
I didn't think about this. It's a good question. Important. I have grown up with the handbag, but what do we play? What do we say with the instrument? Is a big question. And this question I ask me so many times. And this question is about to be answered with music. The music never happened before.
Philippe, you are announced as a jazz guitarist. What's the meaning of jazz in this context of tonight?
Mainly it's my musical origin. However, sometimes people say you shouldn't be calling yourself a jazz guitarist, it evokes wrong things. I don't think so. For me it's very, like I'm a musician before everything else. But doing all kinds of different work, I found that being rooted there is very important. And tonight, there's two things. One part is we do play some little pralines of jazz repertoire together. And the other is that jazz has always been a musical melting pot, and the whole project of combining these two instruments is very jazz in itself, I think.
Jing, you have told me that many years ago you have met Pierre Vargo on his Chinese tour, and you have played together and you have worked together. Could you a little bit talk us about this experience?
Yeah, the experience with Pierre Vargo for me is a milestone. Before I knew Pierre Vargo, I only repeat. The concept for me is to play perfect. Perfect meaning exactly as written or exactly as teacher said, what shall be. Means classic. I couldn't sleep if I have a little mistake. I practice millions times why this happened. And when I play Pierre said, "Oh, you play best when you are tired." So sick. And the experience let me suddenly understood the sense. In the old Chinese, they say, "What is arts?" The arts is not so definite at the point it's finished. It's always ongoing, it's living. This lively play make me a complete musician.
And how did you meet Jing, Philipp? You told me that 15 years ago, that was the first time that you have played together. Mm-hmm. Was it also thanks of Pierre Vargo?
Yes. I had been working with Pierre before that, and then Jing showed up in his surroundings, and was very interested to learn that instrument and the musician. And at some point we had the chance to form a group for a tour of China, and we made, and this was for probably for you quite a thrilling thing, because it was a proper jazz group. It was like Pierre on the drums, a bass player, saxophone player, me, and it was an all jazz repertoire, and you just jumped in there like into a cold pool and did amazingly well, and we had a quite memorable tour of China.
Do you also remember this tour?
Philippe was my teacher. With Pierre, we play free stuff. And I said, yeah, let's do one set because we are going to play the last concert of Shanghai Jazz Festival in the big concert hall. And Pierre said, yeah, Philippe brought all the repertoire. Go practice with Philippe. You know, I have to learn. This is not easy things. It was a very good experience for me. It's absolutely special.
So you have the core of this quintet.
Exactly. Exactly. Today is a big challenge. There's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a group, the drum, if you have one or two, okay, pick up here, you come back. But there, you have to be there. This is a very much challenge. That's exactly what I like.
In the program of tonight, you will play also a piece of Todd Stemmeron, the famous bebop pianist who has played together with Mike Davis. Are all the pieces you are playing written out or mostly improvised or little mixed?
It's mixed.
Of course, the pralines, as you mentioned.
Because Philippe is not only a jazz musician. He has very wide collections. He's composer, and he also worked with new music. Means he could read score, not only all the jazz musicians somewhere just don't want. They couldn't. Even they know which notes, but get together is something other story. And I want to show the difference where I come from. The first piece will be the piece I composed in 1984. Disclosure, I gave the name, because at that time Shanghai published the research of town music score manuscript.
That was in 1984.
1983.
Yeah.
And 84.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly published in 84. At this moment, I was student. I was told I supposed to carry the tradition. And suddenly the tradition is not the same as I knew. And what is a tradition? And I knew China is not only one language. China is not only pentatonic. And the score written 1,000 years ago, pipa solo, I didn't know. I had difficulty to play. The intervals, the jump, di do di. So it sounds like new music. And I wrote this. And it's a big question. Also today I carry this question. Because each of us, we carry a tradition.
The title of your festival is Musik zwischen den Welten, music between this tradition and new music, between classical and jazz music, between Western and Eastern music. How important is for you these dialogues?
it's very, very important. When I play at home, I think, oh, everything fine. When I meet the other, they have some other concept. And I found this is very important, not only for us, for everybody, for our society. We used to speak one language, we used to have one kind of philosophy. We think, that is right. And when we see the difference, we think that is not right. But when we're getting closer, we may become even more solutions when we meet a problem. And I found we are very privileged as a musician because we have an instrument without limits. I mean, without the syllable, without grammar, without the words limits. So we can use our concept, direct talk to the other. And what I have used to, for example, the held articulation, the Chinese people think, yeah, we like this. And if the people protect, well, we like this. So who is right? You know, each music language is concentrated concept of the people.
What about you, Philipp?
I was just now thinking that when I said 15 years ago, Jing would be dragged into our world, and so now we're really meeting in halfway, because she brought compositions of hers which are some more, some less, departing from that tradition, and we did some rehearsals, and they were all very different, and I had one interesting thing that I found a way of blending or of having this dialogue work not intellectually, like me, look, no, you have to count like this, or no, the movement is like this, but by going into the sound, just into the sound of the other instrument, because very simple, when I play in whatever context and I feel lost or crying for help, I remember this and I go into the sound, and it's always there, the solution. But that's it's always like a new Offenbarung, revelation.
Concerning the sounds, this also a dialogue of the different, very different instruments. Many years before Christ, it was already played. Could you a little bit tell us about the special features of this instrument, the Gutong?
Today I'm using this Gutong. Still, this traditional tuning, pentatonic tuning, is very popular. But traditionally, when they do modulation, you change to another tuning, another instrument. But the piece we are going to listen with the aria, we go out this pentatonic range. We do the modulation like water, the arias flow, within the pentatonic. And the weak point of this instrument become the strong point, which is the unstable. When you ding, ding, this is unstable, but this become the strong point. It's like a water flow. It's never stable.
And on the other hand, you have your main instrument, the pipa, in form of a birnenförmige Laute. Could you also a little bit talk about this instrument?
Yeah, pipa has long tradition. Already in the Tang Dynasty was a solo instrument. But at that time, people used a big wooden plectrum. We don't know how the sound exactly is. But the poem they written, the pipa, has big and small poles floating onto jade plate, and also this discovered manuscript with a very rich tone scala, much richer than I knew at that point. And I found the pipa actually is a result of cultural exchange. In the 3rd century, along the old Silk Road, there's the Arabic wood. Today is not on our program. I have written by the tone scala from Tang Dynasty and Unhartlich sounds really dancing, very light. So the pipa is, that's why, because it's a developed instrument, I have no problem to play, for example, with piano, with symphony, with whatever, with guitar, because the pitch, there's no problem with it, because the pipa is chromatic.
That's very interesting.
It's a developed instrument. Today, people take pipa as the instrument, the sound of China. So people think the cultural exchange is the character of our time, globalization. Actually, it was always happened, right? And the pipa is a very good sample. It's a free instrument.
Concerning the very different sound of these instruments, is difficult to mix this?
Let me answer this because first of all, like we heard now, it's not so very different. I mean, there are through many generations, like some cousins, the guitar, and for me, the electric guitar, me being almost exclusively in acoustic surroundings, like with other instruments that are acoustic, my main interest is in blending with the other sound, and so for this, I have to use the sound of the other instrument as a room to get in. So it's no chance I can go on top of it or be that room. So and for the pipa, I've always have to hold my horses in a way, because I have that strong bass in the electric guitar, and as long as I keep that a bit under control, the blend comes out very nicely.
The subtitle of this festival is Towards the Poem. How important is to integrate also some poems? Tonight we will hear from Octavio Paz, the Invisible Flower, presented by Peter Doppelfeld, the director of this house. What is the idea behind this integrating of the poems?
I love poems. I often read poems, and because in a very short time, one sentence, you jump to another time, another place. You talked, because the poem is like music, is concentrated concept, and you feel. You take me out of my time. It's a big inspiration.
And could you also explain a little bit the idea behind all this series? Is there any dramaturgy from the first concert to the fourth concert?
Yes. one thing, even the poem, there's so many poems. The poems have all the aspects. But I have chosen a lot of Western poems. What's the difference? We are proud. Every nation is proud of own poems. The Tang Dynasty. I love Tang Dynasty, but in recent years, I more and more enrich myself, free myself from the Western poems. And they have a bigger space in a way. They're not personal centralized. They have, if you name as God, but the God is no name. There's something we say nature. I think I understand it is very linked with the Chinese way of always our nature is our teacher, but I think it is something bigger than our human. And this concert, also the sozusagen Grundlos vergnügt, this is one poem through the whole concert. Every concert uses one poem. But this time, it's different poems in different concert, means today Invisible Flower is, I like this poet. He's really searching. Life is the way of searching for understanding. It is no end. Maybe in the end of life, I understand. Maybe you still understand part. So this also with the link with the music we do. We don't know if it works or not. Honestly, we have to search. That's good. Always like that. Maybe in concert we will have new discovery also for us.
So, thank you very much, Jing. Thank you very much, Philipp. Enjoy the concert.